Welcome to this demonstration of inFlyte Tax's inFlyte solution for Oracle Fusion ERP. inFlyte provides fully automated indirect tax determination for VAT, GST, and comparable taxes in more than 165 countries, including sales and use tax in the United States, all using the standard native functionality within Oracle Fusion. Over the past 15 years, inFlyte has been continuously developed and refined, embedding the legislative requirements tailored to each jurisdiction and economic region. In combination with common business requirements, inFlyte Tax has encountered across a vast amount of implementation products. Using our rapid install methodology, the solution can be deployed in a matter of hours, providing an out-of-the-box experience that enables businesses and teams to begin testing and raising transactions immediately. This is particularly beneficial in fast-moving implementations. Let's see the solution in action within accounts payable. Here, we're processing a domestic purchase in France. A supplier in France has invoiced our French business unit for €100 for goods, plus €20 for VAT, for a total of €120. I have entered only the minimum required details in the invoice header and a single item line for the goods. If I expand the tax line section, you can see a tax line has been created and the standard French VAT at 20% has been calculated. inFlyte derives this automatically from the business unit address, the supplier site, and any ship-to locations involved. The tax rate naming convention is standardized across more than 70 pre-configured rates, each fully automated to provide granular reporting, audit traceability, and analytical context for each transaction. This invoice can now be validated and accounted. And if we look at the accounting lines, we can see that the €20 is fully recoverable and booked to the input VAT account. Let's look at another invoice. In this scenario, we have received an invoice from a supplier in Italy covering two items, a part and an admin fee. You can see these two separate lines in the invoice denoted by the description within each line. Additionally, for the admin fee, the product type is defined as services. Expanding the taxes section to calculate tax, 4 lines are created in this case. The first 2 represent the EU intra-community reverse charge on goods, and the other 2 represent the reverse charge on services. If I increase the column width of the rate name, you can see the offset tax labeled by the abbreviation OFF is your output tax, otherwise known as your tax liability, while a VAT line is your input VAT, which may be recoverable. The clear separation between goods and services is there to facilitate mandatory EU reporting requirements. Once the invoice is validated and accounted, and if we look at the accounting lines, the input VAT amount posts the recoverable VAT account, as you can see here, and the output VAT amount posts to the tax liability account, as you can see in this last line. Let's say that the part is delivered to another country outside of the EU's jurisdiction. inFlyte evaluates the ship-to location to assess the VAT treatment. In this case, I have populated the ship-to field with a location in the US. So if I now calculate tax, you can see that the tax line is now represented as an out-of-scope VAT. These examples demonstrate the solution's adaptability based on the natural information provided when processing an AP invoice. In addition to these examples, inFlyte can handle more complex cases such as intra-community triangulation, drop shipments, foreign vendor non-resident VAT charges, Oracle expense reimbursements, product and party classifications, determination based on freight Incoterms, and much more. The last AP example I'd like to demonstrate is an invoice where a US vendor has charged sales tax. The inFlyte US solution can handle sales and use tax rate content for all states and local jurisdictions that implement a sales and use tax regime, all directly available in Oracle and updated on a monthly basis. For this invoice, I've selected the US business unit, entered an amount of $108.90, entered an item line of 100, and included a ship-to location in Atlanta, Georgia, as you can see here. Upon calculating the tax lines for this location, we receive state, county, and city sales tax lines along with the tax jurisdiction name calculated by the solution. While there is no specific local jurisdiction to collect taxes for in this particular scenario, inFlyte US also provides district and special region content. In addition, inFlyte US is structured to handle tax based on nexus settings of your business, vendor classification, origin-based transactions, localized tax requirements, and many more features. In receivables, similar to payables, inFlyte utilizes the concept of evaluating a transaction in a hierarchical approach to determine tax by assessing the places, parties, products, and processes. In this example, I have entered an invoice for a customer in France with one simple line for a quantity of 1 and a unit price of 100. To calculate taxes on a receivable transaction, the transaction must be saved. And this triggers the tax calculation call. An amount will be displayed on the right-hand side with a hyperlink to open the tax lines. Using the business unit address, customer bill to site, and the ship to site for a baseline determination, the tax engine has returned a tax line for the standard VAT treatment. As you may notice, the naming convention for domestic tax treatments is the same as seen in payables. Through the available out-of-the-box reports that Oracle provide, these are categorized by their tax source, for instance, input and output tax, which allows for the tax configuration to be maintainable and standardized. As mentioned, the tax engine will use the ship-to location as a priority to determine the place of supply when selling goods. I have changed the ship-to customer for a customer that is located in Netherlands. Then, to recalculate tax in AR, you can simply click the Save button again. And by clicking on the tax amount, the tax lines will be updated. And you can now see that the tax treatment represents an EU sale of goods where the customer is reverse charged for VAT. inFlyte provides the option to be able to classify inventory items as being a specific tax treatment if different to the default treatment for a lower level of determination. While it is not essential to categorize items for tax, it allows organizations to drive the different VAT treatments should these be frequent occurrences. In this example, we are billing a customer within France for a product that has been classified as reduced rated. If I switch over to a tab I have open for this product within Product Information Management, you can see within the categories section that an item tax classification of FR reduced high is applied. So now if I switch back to our invoice and click Save, you can see that this line has now been calculated at the 10% reduced rate in France. inFlyte has built-in validation checks to prevent a non-transactional level determinant from applying if the scenario does not make sense. For instance, if we change the ship-to location to be a site within Netherlands, making this an intra-community transaction, and by recalculating tax, you will see that the tax line has been updated to reflect an EU reverse charge instead of applying the French VAT reduced rate. inFlyte also provides the ability to drive a tax treatment directly from the party or party site, which also has the same foolproof logic to determine when the tax treatment should and should not be calculated. If I switch over to a tab for the party tax profile of this particular customer, you can see we have applied a party classification for exempt from VAT within France. By using this customer ship-to site where the party classification is assigned to, if we click Save, we can see that the tax result is 0. And you can see that the FR-VAT exempt tax rate code is now represented in the tax lines. To get in touch for more information and requests for bespoke or comprehensive demonstrations, you can visit our website at www.innovatetax.com. Thank you for watching this short demonstration of inFlyte's inFlyte indirect tax determination solution.